So, you know what's driving me absolutely crazy?
What's that?
My neighbor has a house guest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she's a smoker. We have a non smoking thing going on here, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's been smoking in the hallway.
What?
Yeah, like right in front of my place. So I walk into a cloud of smoke, and at the very least, you could open the window.
And that foyer is not big. Smoke.
Now, every time I leave my place, I feel like I can stop, drop, and roll.
Come on. It's not that bad.
It is. All right, welcome into What's on Your Mind. He's Mike Swift. I'm not. I'm
Yep.
Stephen Lewis, the less attractive one, but two
Aw.
two radio guys who just talk about things that are on their mind. And you informed me before we started this little broadcast that it's my turn to go first. I was really counting on you
It
to go
sure
first.
is.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, because wait, well, go ahead.
This isn't on my mind, but I ordered myself a new gaming chair. Let me tell you, it makes
Mhm.
every day a vacation now. It is a
I noticed that. I was going to ask you if that was new.
game changer. Matches my decor. That was not intentional, but it just came that
Mm.
way, and it
Oh,
is
shut up.
fantastic.
Shut up. You were very well the hell aware of what you were buying when you bought it, because I
No,
know you too
I
well.
picked, I picked the color, but I wasn't 100% sure it was going to match. And it's just
So
let's
you
say
mulled over it for a
I
good
did,
5 to 10 minutes.
I
See?
did.
So you did. See?
It's the right shade of gray. So anyway,
Did you mull over 50 shades of them?
I about five. So, only five. Only five. I wasn't
Okay.
sure. I'm nervous anymore about buying stuff online. Like I do. Like my
You
last chair I
know,
bought online and it was like the Iron Maiden. I'm like, I sat in that thing for more than 25 minutes and I was like, my God, is this what medieval torture was like? But this one, oh, this is fantastic.
so I took a huge leap of faith last week and bought a bed online. I was very nervous because I didn't know what I was going to get, you know? And I guess to put it in context, I had been sleeping on a basically a cot, a rollout couch for the last couple of years. So my thought was, all right, I can't get any worse than this thing, you know, because it's a freaking, you know, the equivalent of a futon couch cushion. So a futon bed cushion. So I figured, yeah, well, I'll take a leap of faith, and I did some careful research. I read all the reviews and everything before I bought it, but it's great.
Yeah,
I'm very pleased with my purchase.
nice. Why didn't you just drive around and look for a bed? You know, people put them outside all the time. You could have saved some money.
You know, there was the whole thing of the possibility of bed bugs.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I suppose that is a risky run.
the day I decided to go out and shop, it was raining. So, I didn't
So,
want a soggy bed. That was just going to be a no-go. It was just me. So I
did
didn't want to have
your
to carry a soggy mattress.
Did you get an actual mattress, or did you get like they stuff it into a box and then you open it up and it goes? Because I was
That's what I was
skeptical.
also afraid of.
No, I was skeptical about those, but I bought one. Oh, that thing's comfortable.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, this was an actual mattress.
Okay.
When
I'm
it
like, I'm
came
not anti.
delivered,
If you're a bed in the box person, I'm not anti that. I played that game and it worked out well for me.
I went back and forth on the bed in the box thing, and because I've heard good stuff, I've heard bad stuff. Um, this particular bed, I wasn't sure, I wasn't 100% sure if it was coming in a box or not, until once I was finally making the purchase, and then they set up a delivery date, and I was like, okay, this obviously isn't in a box. So, but it was funny because I checked the box where I declined for them to pick up my mattress and professionally install for an extra $154.
But yeah,
So, but it was hilarious because I could tell that they were relieved that this was a non-install, They put it on. I watched them put it on my porch, give up that, kind of look at each other and give up like the and clap like, and they scurried off of my porch because they were not they were very pleased that they didn't have to install it. So, but it was a good
Nice.
purchase, and all is well. Everybody was happy on all sides.
Glad it worked out. I'll tell you what, when I was doing the morning show in Columbus, I slept on a futon and oh my God. Like
Mm,
after it was painful because I was getting up at 4 in the morning and no
yeah.
one else in the household at the time was. So I would get up and feed the dogs and all that. And man, whew, like it was
Hmm.
painful. Like after a while,
Yeah.
my back was like, you're an asshole. Like I don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was my back,
Your
but
hips.
eventually it started to spread into my
Yep.
ribs and my hips.
Yeah.
And yeah, like
Oh
every
yeah.
morning I felt like somebody beat the crap out of me. Like it really felt like that. Seriously.
Futon hip pain is a real thing. Like it
It is.
speaking of issues, it's I guess what's on my mind tonight is people. And you were actually on the phone with me when this happened the other day. So I will
Yes.
I guess I should preface this because I've been thinking about this a while. Part of the problem that I'm dealing with my um medical issue that I've been kind of recently found out about and battling for a second has been the fact that I I have personality swings. I'm not bipolar or whatever.
Mm.
Like I'm not bipolar. And I think the personality side of it is I think it's just amplified stuff. And I don't know that there's necessarily a drug I could take that fix it. And what I mean by amplify stuff is I think I'm more of an extreme emotion person now in one direction or another. And I saw
Hmm.
this the other night because I was watching a movie. And you ever see Arthur the King?
No, I haven't.
True story. Mark Wahlberg and a dog that he finds while he's on a it's a great movie. But
Yeah, yeah.
when Arthur there's a moment where it's touch and go for Arthur and I was bawling. Like I was just I'm like emotional wreck. And I've seen the movie before. Like I know what happens. But like
Hmm.
I feel like the same thing now when I get angry about something. I think I'm more extreme angry than I ever would be in the past. And that's a problem for me that I know I have to work on. But I also know what the cause is, and I don't know what exactly I can necessarily do about it. So I was driving yesterday. Was this yesterday? Yes, it would have been yesterday. I was
Yes,
driving
this was
yesterday
yesterday.
and I was on my way to the gym. And while I was driving, I was in a 2 lane, 35 mile an hour um, stretch of road.
Hmm.
And I was originally in the left lane, but the person that was in the left lane was going super slow. So, I mean, I was going, to be fair, I was going probably 40, maybe 42 ish in the 35 mile per hour zone. But I'm someone who I look at those speed limit signs as suggested. They suggest I go
Hmm.
35. I prefer 42. So the left lane, though, even if you're in a 2 lane road, the left lane is still meant for to be slightly faster than the people in the right hand lane. Would you
Right,
agree?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
most of the time you're making a right hand turn from the right lane anyway. So yes,
so
by design.
this guy's in front of me. So I get over into the right lane. I use my signal. I get into the right lane. And as I get into the right lane, the person that was in front of the gray Cherokee in front of me gets into the right lane too. So they finally realize they were going too slow for the left lane. They get over. So I'm like, okay. Well, then the guy in the silver Cherokee proceeds to get over in front of me too. So I switch back into the left lane. At which point, this guy decides now that he's not going to let me go by. He swerves back into my lane to like prevent me from going around. I can't go into the other lane because there's oncoming traffic. So I'm like, what are you
Mhm.
doing? So I slow down and then I go to get back in the right lane. So I'm like, fine, you can have the left lane. I'll get in the right lane. Well, then he swerves back over again and brake checks me. And at this point in time, I'm pissed because I'm like, what are you doing? So then this ass clown decides he's going to ride in the middle lane between the two. And anytime I try to go around, he's swerving back and forth into the other lane and brake checking me the entire time. And I'm like, what in the F is your problem? So I proceed to finally I get around him because there's a turn lane. And quite frankly, my car's faster than his. So as the turn lane comes up, I get around him and I'm in the right lane and he's flipping me off in the right lane, at which point I start screaming, stuff that I shouldn't scream. The only thing I remember saying is,
Mm,
I'm like, you're lucky I don't drag you out of that fucking car and hammer you through the fucking pavement. Because I was pissed. Because I'm like, don't brake check me again, you asshole. So I'm trying to figure out, and this happened to me before on the highway, and not just me. This happened, I spoke about this on the air one day, because this happened to me and like three other people on the highway. I don't understand why people don't just let you go around them. If you're trying to get around
hmm
them because you're going slow, it's your prerogative to go slow. It's my prerogative to go faster and risk the speeding ticket that comes with going faster. I understand that. But there's no reason why you should swerve back and forth in my lane or anybody's lane and brake check me because I want to get around you. Like there's
right.
nothing to it. What people I don't understand what the issue is with people. I really truly don't. But like this guy,
hmm
I was pissed. Like I wish I would have been
hmm
going the same place that he was. And there was a part of me that crept in like follow this asshole wherever he is and give him
Oh no, you
a down of a
said it a
light.
few times. You said it a few times. I'm gonna follow this guy, and I'm
I,
just like, oh my God.
I did because I was pissed. And I was like, I watched this happen. I was on my way to my friend Jeff's like a month or so ago. And I watched this happen to the guy in front of me. And the guy had a gun. I think we talked about this.
Gun. That's
The guy
what,
had
yes,
a
we
gun.
did, which is what I thought of this instantly. And in the moment, that was all I could think of. And I'm like, Steven, what are you thinking? Brother, that we literally you just witnessed somebody get shot at for the same thing.
Yeah, but this time I had my firearm, so I was I was ready to go. Like,
I,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I
oh
did have my
God.
firearm, but I would have never done that. But no, I was just pissed. I'm like, what is wrong with people? I do not understand. Like I
Right.
had an old man last year that was screaming at me for something. Oh, I was turning into a Meijer to go grocery shopping, and this guy was screaming at me from the left lane. And then because I was in the turn lane, I was in the left. I stayed in the left lane because I was going to turn once I got through the intersection to turn in the grocery store. And this guy started screaming at me and flipping me off and mouthing me off. And I pulled into Meijer and he pulled into Meijer too and started mouthing me off or what, mouthing off or whatever. And he went like, I kind of followed him to see where he's going. I'm like, dude, what's your deal? And he rah, rah, and started swearing at me and flipping me off again. So he got in line for Burger King, which was easy because no one goes to Burger King anymore. So he was the only person in line. So I literally parked in Burger King and I don't know what he thought I was going to do, but I went inside and said, I want to pay for this guy's lunch that he's getting. And I bought his lunch and I left. He never
Nice.
thanked me. He never saw me again. But that was my way of handling this one. But this guy, I was so pissed. And he had an Under Armour hat. I'm like, you have no idea how much I'd love to shove that Under Armour hat right up your ass. But I was just furious. Like, I don't understand.
Yes,
Like,
you were.
you not get how dangerous that is because you're not messing with me, just me. You're messing with me and anybody who's behind me that doesn't expect me or anybody else to brake check from some a-hole that's in the middle of the two lanes and straddling both lanes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, why wouldn't there be a cop there to go? I mean, I
Of
know you
course.
can't, but a cop is never there when that stuff happens. He's there when I'm going
hmm
70 and a 60 and a 55, but he's not there
Always conveniently.
for this instance. But I
I
don't
can
understand.
say one time in my lifetime has there been a cop in a situation like where somebody was driving like an idiot and all of a sudden it's just like, well, where are the cops to see that? And they're the one time in my lifetime there was a cop sitting in the intersection when like somebody cut me off. Like, yeah. But anyway,
But
yeah.
this guy, but I'm like brake checking somebody. I'm like, what's the necessity in that? Is your life that bad that you need to risk an accident? I don't
Yeah.
know.
And it's interesting because something I'd never witnessed. Now I've got to admit, like maybe I'm a little biased, but it is something I have never witnessed until I moved to Ohio. And it happens almost every time I make a trip back from Michigan to Ohio. And
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't understand it. Like even there was an instance where I passed somebody on the highway because they were going slower and they were in the left lane. I
yeah,
passed them, went around them, used my blinker. I made sure there was ample space before I got back into the left lane, and they sped up and came back and got in front of me. And it's like, what, why? What's
yeah.
the
I
point of that? I don't understand.
I don't get it either because I'm like, if you don't want to, like, if you don't want to drive fast, that's fine. I don't expect you to
Right.
drive fast if you don't feel like driving fast. But like,
Hmm.
just the common courtesy, it's just people. And was my reaction embarrassing? Yeah, I probably shouldn't have yelled, but at the same time, like, I was pissed. Like,
I understand.
I was
However,
pissed.
I've never seen it like or heard that side of you. Like I've heard you angry, I've seen you angry, but the level of anger that I heard on the other side of that phone at that point in time, like I didn't recognize my friend.
I know. And I'm not that guy. Like I'm not
Hmm.
like I don't start fights because one, I'm a big believer as someone who knows, not saying I'm an expert, but as someone who knows a little bit about fighting and how to take care of themselves. And if I can throw down, I'll throw down. I would never go start a fight with someone I don't know because that just says what an idiot you
Yeah.
are. Like if you're
Hmm.
dumb enough to go start a fight with somebody you don't know, you deserve every bit of the beat down that will probably come your way. Because anybody who knows how to fight will not usually, I say usually, will usually not be the first person to start a fight because they're smart enough to
That's
realize
true.
they don't know what's on the other side of the fight they're starting, kind of thing.
Hmm.
I mean, again,
Hmm.
I've walked through bars DJing at night and been punched in the face by someone because someone thought I was somebody else. And again, was I pissed? Yeah, but did I immediately
Yeah.
lunge at the guy and start beating? No, not at all. Like I don't. It
See,
just
that's when you should have pulled out the shank.
I should have reached into the old
Stab a
prison
stab.
wallet and
Wait a minute. Prison wallet. Whoa, bro. Be careful with the terminology you're using, sir.
no, but I just
Is it
don't
like the safe pocket in Arc Raiders?
safe pocket, prison wallet, call it what you want.
It's
Um,
all the same.
but yeah, it's just like I
Wait,
don't.
I'm not, I'm not more, I'm not sure if I should be more impressed the fact that you stabbed me or where amidst you pulled that from, sir.
Do you want to see? Want me to show you the shank? I'm kidding.
Please don't. Please don't.
Remember a guy. I remember like I was riding my bike one day, and a guy almost hit me in his car because he wasn't paying attention. So I yelled because I'm a big advocate. If you're a biker, if you're a bike per, watch out for bikes, especially in the summer.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
because I yelled at the guy. I'm like, if I were a little kid, you'd be having a real bad day because you wouldn't have seen him. Like, but, and the guy was yelling at me. The guy mouthed off, and I mouthed off back at him. And he pulled over down the road. He's like, you got something to say? I'm like, actually, I do. I'm like, you don't know me. I don't know you. But the fact that I yelled at you because you almost hit me while I was riding my bike has made you want to pull in front of me and stop and get in a physical fight or altercation with someone you don't know. And the guy was like, yeah, man, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm going through a real rough patch right now. I apologize. Da, da, da. And I'm like, we're all good. And he got in the car and left. But I'm like, what's wrong with like you see road rage and whatever. And now, like, it does kind of scare me a little bit seeing the guy get shot at the one night when I was on my way to my friend's house. And then yesterday, I'm like, I wonder how much this happens that you don't hear of it now. And you
Oh
never, like,
God, yeah. It's one of those things where on either side of how you look at it, you can still make that statement, you never know. Whether it's you never know what you're getting yourself into, or you never know what that other person is capable of. You never
right,
know what's going on in that person's head. You never know what they've got in their car. Like there are
right.
so many factors in a situation that can be summed up with you just never know.
Now that I have proven that I am a road raging a hole, with temper issues. That's what's on my mind. So I now yield to you.
Well, I wish I could say something. I wish I could say that what's on my mind is a little more lighthearted, but um, it actually ironically feeds from what we've talked about, as you put it, at nauseum over the course of the last few weeks.
Oh,
What's on my mind? Actually kind of hit me in the face Sunday night. Um, was doing my typical routine of, finding something to watch as I kind of dozed off, set the sleep timer and just kind of you know, doze off and watch. And a documentary caught my attention. And the name of the documentary is called Burn, Mother Effer Burn.
nice. That's some
And
light watching.
well, and you know what? That alone, the title alone caught my attention. Like it really did. It really did. Like, 'cause I was kind of flipping through, looking at the titles, looking for something. It's usually something action. Um, but I went, Burn, Mother Effer Burn. Let me check
Okay.
this out for a second. And as I flipped it on, I realized it was talking about LA,
Oh, the riots.
specifically the riots and the Watts riots and the riots that took place after the Rodney King verdict.
Okay.
And it starts out with it literally starts out with showing um, civilian footage of the police subduing what was a homeless man. And it was very similar to, like, I immediately went to Alex Preddy.
Hmm.
They had him on the ground. There was tussling, and all of a sudden, one of the other officers that was standing by just pulls out his sidearm and shoots the guy.
Jesus.
And and that was, of course, the reaction by everybody. A lot worse than just Jesus. There were lots of profanity and why'd you shoot him? What were you? What is going on? Why did you do this?
Right.
And then it goes into um, the history of the Los Angeles Police Department. And the way that the tone was set was it gave a background of the LAPD was one of the most racist
Hmm.
government institutions. It is, well, at that time and in the time of its establishment was the most racist government establishment in our country at that time.
Yeah.
And set the history of chief of police and how that particular chief of police, when the LAPD was established, was very widely known to be racist. And of course, the police officers under his command, in which he hired and handpicked, were all kind of within his way of thinking and mind
Right.
thought. Um, and it told the it kind of gave history and the constant history of racial profiling, of what we now know is racial profiling.
Yeah.
Um, and it went on to kind of explain how uh, the premise of why the Watts riots took place.
Hmm.
And what was explained within the story was there was a situation between a police officer and a gentleman over a Cadillac. You'll have to excuse me. I did take notes on this. I did, but I set those notes somewhere and I can't. can't find them. I couldn't find them before the show, but so you'll have to forgive me. I'm trying to pick from what I remember. But there was a situation where a gentleman was basically being arrested by the police. He had this Cadillac, 1955 something. It was a nice, really nice vehicle, and um, the police wanted to tow the car. And what ended up happening was there was a woman who stepped up and was basically like, "Please don't tow this vehicle." And what was described as she was a hairdresser. She was wearing some kind of smock that made her appear pregnant. So, but she wasn't. So when she approached the police officer, he grabbed her by the head and slammed her face first into the car.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
this started uh, a scuffle between the police and the people who were there at that time. And that's essentially, from what was recorded, what kind of sparked the Watts riots in LA.
Wow.
And they showed a lot of raw footage. Um, the people of LA, or the black community specifically in LA, um, to kind of set a premise here, were basically boxed in to this area just outside the city of LA. You weren't allowed to live or interact basically outside of this zone if you were African American. Um, and basically, what during the Watts riots, the police were ordered to set up a perimeter and just let the city tear itself apart. Let this community tear itself apart until there wasn't anything left. And then the police moved in and made arrests and beat people and all of the terror terrifying things that you see if you look at footage or watch this documentary, Witness, that was just it I can't describe it other than police brutality.
Yeah.
And the chief of police basically said at the time, well, if they don't like the police, then maybe we'll just let them experience what it was like to not have police at all. And that just fueled the fire for the riots. Um, a lot of people on the outside, especially what was um trying to be careful of how I say this,
Sure.
what was projected to the outside world, specifically to upper class communities. So these people were just mindless thugs tearing their city apart. And what it really was a display of a poor community who didn't have resources like others, um, express that they were fed up with the way that they were being treated.
Yeah. I did
Um,
a sorry.
no, go ahead. You're fine.
I did a paper in college on the Rodney King beating
Hmm.
and everything.
Hmm.
And I wish I could find it. I mean, I kept a lot. I kept a few of my college papers that I actually liked, that I actually put like effort into, just in case I'd ever. I don't know why. Like I saved stupid stuff. Like, do I really? I compared Star Wars to like how Star Wars is mirror like the Cold War, the 80s Russia, like all of that. I did a big comparison
Okay.
on that. But one of the things I wrote about was the Rodney King um, beating. Let's not call it an incident. It was what it was. That was
Mm-hmm.
the precursor to a lot of the issues we have today with social media and like now if anything happens it's on the internet in 5 minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
prior to the
Mm-hmm.
Rodney King
Exactly.
thing you never saw anything. Like you could be as racist as you
Exactly.
wanted to be, you could be as law breaking as you wanted to be, because there wasn't any way to capture that. But one guy with a camcorder changed all that. Because and
Changed
a lot
everything.
and the thing with
Well,
the riots, what started the riots was exactly the same thing. It was the people that went, wait a minute, how can you see what those guys did and let them off the hook? Like
exactly.
that was just the pot just boiled over because you were
It
like,
really did.
wait a minute. And I mean, anybody, if you've never seen the Rodney King beating, I'm sure you can see it online.
You can definitely look it up and see it, but
Like, I don't care if you were drunk, I don't care what. Like, that was just the definition of excessive. Like, I
I
mean,
remember watching that on the news and just because I mean I was 12 and up until that point I had that preconception that the police are here to help. And in fact, in the documentary, one of the people that they interviewed was one of the members of Cypress Hill.
okay,
And he even said, um, at one point in the documentary, and he says, I'm watching this and I'm going, like, I see what I'm processing what I'm witnessing, but still yet in the back of my head, as a white kid growing up, I'm thinking the police are here to protect and serve. What
right.
did this guy do? What did he do wrong? Is he cussing at them? Is he doing what is he doing to cause this situation? And he said I had to fight that thought and really tell my mind or allow my mind to kind of take in what I'm really witnessing at its at it, in the raw moment. Um, the the Rodney King beating, and for those who may not know the history, Rodney King was a gentleman driving home one night and um was pulled over by the police. I don't know what grabbed the police's attention towards Rodney King, but he didn't pull over right away. Let's just be honest. He led them on a chase. Now I don't know if it was I don't recall if it was a high speed chase or but nonetheless, he did not pull over right away. But when the police finally did corner him, it was about what I think five or six police officers. It might have even been four, but it was a group of police officers that pulled him out of the vehicle and started beating him. And just so happens that where the police stopped him was in front of an apartment complex, and it just so happened that there was somebody watching all of this happen and pulled out a camcorder, which had never happened in the history of anything. Pulled out a camcorder and started recording the beating.
Oh, geez.
And
If you haven't
when
seen it, like
it's brutal.
it's brutal. Like, I
It's at
mean,
night, it's
it's
shadowed, and of
grainy.
course it's 1992 grainy camcorder technology, but you get the gist
But
of
yeah,
the man is literally crawling across the ground pleading for his life, and they're just relentlessly beating and kicking him with their nightsticks and beating him with the nightsticks and kicking him.
and it's hard to watch
Um
without
it
going, come on,
is.
stop. Like, enough's enough.
Yeah. It's tough to watch. Nonetheless, when this video was released, the celebrity black community spoke up right away and said, "Hey, let's not do anything extreme. Black people, let's stay cool, stay calm. We have them. We have them. This is our aha moment. So let's hang back. Let's let justice be served here. And that's for the most part what the black community did. And so during this trial, this is kind of the ammo to the powder keg. While the Rodney King trial was going on, just before the verdict, there was a situation where a young black woman, young teenage black girl, went to a believe it was a Korean owned convenience store. And the story is this young girl was trying to purchase a bottle of orange juice, and the woman behind the counter at the store thought the girl was trying to steal the orange juice. There is very brief, very grainy surveillance footage of the situation, but you see the girl at the counter, they're exchanging words. The girl turns her back, and the woman behind the counter shoots her in the back of the head.
Jeez.
Not long after that happening is when the Rodney King verdict came back that the officers who beat Rodney King were acquitted. And all of this built together. So all at once, you had once again an angry black community crying out. And once again, instead of stopping the situation, and actually, well, step back, a very similar situation where there was an altercation between the police and some civilians that got out of hand. And once again, that's where the Rodney King riots began to really plume from. Um, it was a lot of different elements in everyday um, urban LA life that um, could have been prevented by the LAPD, but instead of subduing and preventing or doing what they could to stop the situation, they were ordered back. And like this time, there was plenty of footage
Yeah.
of the police just hanging out in areas outside the rioting areas, didn't allow anybody into the area, didn't allow anybody out of the area, and just
Um,
let the community tear itself apart.
that's not. I mean, LA gets all the spotlight because it's Los Angeles, but that's not just an LA thing.
No,
And
but
I say that because there are places when I was working in Indianapolis, I was
Mhm,
amazed that there was a shooting literally, I think almost every day. There was a shooting
mhm.
someplace. And I was shocked because I'm like, Indianapolis is the middle of Indiana. Like, why is there, what the heck kind of thing? But it made me remember, and the Rodney King thing made me remember when I got to Michigan, it was shortly after the riots in Cincinnati. Little known fact about my hometown. There were riots here in I believe it was 2001 or 2002, and it was
Mhm.
bad. Like it's kind of sad, but like if you're from here, you kind of understood what went on. And for years and years and years, longer than you or I have been alive, the city kind of pushed the urban element into one place, which is called Over the Rhine
Mhm.
now. So that whole element was there. Like it was, I remember when I started college, they had built brand new like Section 8 housing. By the time
Mhm.
I was done with college, it looked like it'd been there for 40 years. Like, I mean, it was just so run down
Yeah.
and like it was a terrible area. And the funny thing is, it's not funny, I guess, but Over the Rhine butted up with what used to be the entertainment district. So, like, all of your bars and restaurants and stuff, like, we're right on the cusp of it. So,
Mhm.
in 2001 or two, there was a kid. Now, to be fair, but there was a kid that Thomas, I believe, with his last name. I can't Timothy Thomas. Sorry, it took me a second. But this
Hmm.
kid had 14 warrants for his arrest or whatever. And one night at 2 in the morning, he ran into some police officers and ran from them and led them on a chase. And ended up, I don't remember exactly what happened, but he ended up bumping into another police officer. And the officer had told him to stop. And he reached, I can't remember if he was carrying a gun or not, but he reached for his waistline and the officer shot and killed him.
Shot him. Yeah, I do
So,
remember that.
so this started the race riots in Cincinnati.
Hmm.
And I remember when Lauren and I first moved to Cincinnati, I drove her down there so she could see it. And she was, because what happened was after the riots ended, all the businesses moved away down there. The entertainment district
Hmm.
was like, screw this, we're going across the river in Kentucky, which set up what is down there now
The
because they had
yeah, the
had
riverfront.
enough. So they had all
Hmm.
moved out of there. So it was like what was once upon a time like this happening mecca of entertainment was now gone because of what had happened
Right.
just a few blocks away. And I drove
Hmm.
her down there and she's like, why are we in this part of town? I'm like, because I just wanted you to see, you have Detroit as your reference for stuff that, is bad. And because Detroit's had its fair share of issues. I'm like, that's
Hmm.
your reference. I'm like, I'm just showing you mine. And I'm like, this is where the race riots happen. And this is why all these businesses have gone away. Now, since then, fast forward, this was 2012. Fast forward to now, and it's actually a really cool area now. There's a ton of like little restaurants that have come back. I did
Hmm.
weddings down there at a couple of spots. I mean, it's gorgeous. Like there are people walking
Right.
around in cafes, and they've changed it a while. But I think what I'm getting at is, and this happens in LA and this happens all over the place, you push what you perceive to be the worst of the worst in the one area, and then you keep it there. But all you're doing is you're turning the heat up on the stove. So eventually, like the water's going to boil over. And that's what you
Yep.
end up with. You end up with like that powder keg eventually explodes.
It does. Yeah.
And then you've
Exactly.
got the aftermath to deal with. But it's just, I mean, you would know better than me. Like, I sometimes can't imagine what it's like just to be looked at as your skin color. Because I think not everybody, but I think there are probably, I mean, I make jokes with you all the time, but I think there are probably people who really, oh, I wonder what crime you committed. Like, oh,
Right.
you're down here. Oh, you're in the grocery store after 11 o'clock at night. What are you going to steal? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I would imagine
Hmm.
there's a lot of that. And again, we've said it for years. Not all cops are bad people. Not all people
Right.
of any color are criminals. Like, it's a character thing. But I don't think people get to know the character. I think there's a lot of assumption in the world now. But I also, on the other side of that coin, I do feel bad for police because it's got to be very hard to do your job when somebody's always got a phone recording every little thing that you say wrong that they can take out of context in some cases and make a
Exactly.
hundred times worse. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Um, it's interesting because the documentary just to backtrack from the Watts riots identified that that's where groups like or gangs or groups and gangs like the Black Panthers and the Crips actually originated from. They weren't necessarily supposed to be gangs or organizations to create problems or chaos. They were there to kind of protect. They were there originally, at least, to protect those communities that they were in the LA area. But going to kind of piggybacking off of what you just said, the documentary continues on to like there was an interview with the chief of police that was in place during the Rodney King riots. And they asked him, if you were a person of color and you were pulled over by the LAPD, would you be nervous? And it was his response was interesting because what he said was one thing, but his body language was saying, "Oh crap, I've got to be very careful in what I have to say here."
Sure.
But what his response was basically he described that years prior he had run, he had been basically undercover, working in an undercover unit, and had um, his appearance because of the environment he was working in. He had long hair, he had the mustache, and said all I had the look that was not acceptable from by anyone, at that point in time in that current time. And he said I there were been plenty of times where he was pulled over and it was a tense situation. And he said I finally what I think of and what I tell people is to use empathy. And he said empathy from both sides. So this as a person in a vehicle who is suddenly being pulled over, use empathy for that police officer because you don't know what kind of situation that police officer just came from, what kind
Sure.
of day he had, what's going on in his mind. And he said, if and at that same token, as that police officer pulling that person over, use empathy because you don't know whether or not that's the first time that person's being pulled over, or maybe it's the second time that they've been pulled over in the last 24 hours and the previous time was a very bad experience. So there are a lot of things. He said if both sides can use empathy, then I think we'd all be okay. And my immediate thought was, well, I mean, I have no problem using empathy, but how do I know the other individual is going to use that same empathy?
You don't, and that's the problem.
That is the huge problem. You alluded to, I think it was our first episode. Um, you alluded to danger and how sometimes the best way to meet that danger in this point in time and the temperature of this country that we're in is to carry your sidearm for protection. My rebuttal to that is sometimes I don't know if it's safe for me to carry even if it was legal.
Yeah, I don't
What do
disagree
I
with you.
do?
I don't
You
disagree with
know?
you. There have been times when I have looked at that and went, what happens if there is some kind of a violent, you know, like I don't want to shoot somebody,
You
like
know,
at the end of the day. And I sure as hell don't want to be shot either. But I think that, it's just I think there's a long country has a trust problem. Nobody trusts anybody. And for that I understand why that is. But I think, you have people that don't trust the police. You have people that don't trust their fellow community members. You have people that obviously don't trust the government. And you have people that I think a lot of them don't trust themselves. And, I always question if I just got out of jail for something, I feel like I would keep a low profile as possible. You know what I mean? Because I don't think I'd want to go back. But you have people that don't do that and they can't break old habits. And it just, and nowadays,
but you also have people who try to keep that low profile and despite doing it all the right way,
just going to
still
say that.
can't.
Yeah. And I think, too, again, you can be necessarily not a great human being, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be beaten within an inch of your life, depending
Mhm.
on what the circumstance. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean, if
it's
I'm out trying to kill somebody, then
that's what I'm saying.
and yeah,
That's
that's
what I'm saying.
different. That's different.
That's what I'm saying. But
Hmm.
if you're a small time thief or you've got some drug offenses or whatever, are you doing somebody wrong? Probably. But do you need to be beaten within an inch of your life for that? Probably not.
No,
But
probably
it's just,
not.
the Rodney King thing. to kind of circle this all back around, that changed everything because now
Mm-hmm.
I think it started the untrust because you were like, well, damn, I can't trust what my police officers are doing now. How do I know that there's not a Rodney
Well,
King in every
even
town
deeper
that
than
just
that,
has
the distrust was there, and you had an entire community screaming out about this distrust, and you had the other side going, "That's not happening. What are you talking about?"
sure,
And so when you got it on tape, you had the entire community going, "Here it is. We've been
right?
telling you this is happening," and then to expect true justice out of that situation and get the complete opposite, man.
Well, and here's the interesting thing: what the Rodney, what Rodney King started is the distrust of everything, and it has now led to the world we live in now with social media, where everything is a distraction from everything else. You know what you aren't hearing about right now? You're not hearing about ICE.
Epstein files?
That too.
Ice,
But
too.
you're not
Yeah,
hearing about
that's
ICE.
true.
What you're hearing about?
That is true.
An unnecessary war in Iran that's raised gas prices for everybody. That's the current distraction.
So to take a very long-winded what's on my mind and kind of summarize it, I sat there and watched this documentary, and I couldn't help but to compare the temperature of this country during Watts, during Rodney King, and comparing that to now.
Yeah.
Because there's just this sense of anger and hate and everything else that can be involved, and it's brewing, and there are all these little events that keep happening within our country that keep pointing to a boiling point. And I the scary part for me is I really can't see. I mean, nobody can predict the future, but the scary part is figuring out or witnessing where that explosion is going to take place or
Yeah.
how.
In all serious, I think you've definitely given a lot to think about for sure. Because I think it's, again, it's a microcosm of the world that we live in right now and the times. And it's what's sad is in 30 something years, it hasn't gotten better.
No, it really feels like everything was kind of swept under the rug and forgotten about in a way by all sides in its own, in their own way. Um, but it's there's an ugliness out there that is about to surface. And it scares me to be able to insightfully speak upon this as if I'm some weird, I don't know, uh, riot Nostradamus or some crap. But it's you see it if you, I mean, I dare say use the term woke because I don't even think that it's more of a woke thing. I think it's just stick your head out of the window,
Right. And look at what's going on.
type of thing, and you'll see it. It's going to happen, and I just, it's scary. It's scary.
He's Mike Swift. I'm not. I'm Stephen Lewis. We'll do this again next week. Feel free to reach out on the socials if you have any comments, like, follow, all that good stuff. And, if something's on your mind, always listen.
Oh,
What?
sorry to interrupt, but very quickly, I am wearing the famous booze hat, I guess.
Is that the hat?
That you got. That's the hat. This is the hat you got me for Christmas
Yeah.
that year that you got
See?
me instead of booze.
See, if I would have got you the booze would have already been gone by now. But that hat, that keeps giving.
I like the hat. No, and I love the hat. Although it looks like it got like squished because it's got this weird uneven college boy fold. I
Eh,
can't get rid,
maybe your head
but
just
I
grew.
still love it.
So there.
I'm giving you the finger right now, and I'm doing this as hard as I can.
It's not the
It's
first time.
almost painful.
Probably won't be the last.